You've seen her before. The woman who can dominate a boardroom, stun a crowd with a flawless presentation, and make million-dollar strategic calls like it's nothing. She's got the credentials. Harvard MBA, impressive resume, every box checked. She's the one who seems unstoppable until she opens her mouth about dating. One moment she's explaining complex market trends. The next, she's insisting that men should always pay because that's what real gentlemen do. She doesn't even notice the raised eyebrows around the table. She doesn't realize the disconnect between her brilliance at work and her train wreck history in love. 3 failed relationships, all with men she swears were perfect for her at the start. The confusion isn't just hers, it's everyone's. How can someone so intelligent make such painfully bad romantic decisions? This isn't rare, it's everywhere. You've got the stunning co-worker who can decode analytics like a supercomputer, but can't figure out why men vanish after a few months. You've got the gorgeous friend with a psychology PhD who can dissect human behavior in a textbook, but can't keep a healthy relationship to save her life. On paper, they're perfect. In reality, they're running into brick walls over and over. Today, I'm going to destroy the myths you've been told about beauty, brains, and attraction. I'm going to pull back the curtain on why so many beautiful women are absolute disasters in love. What you're about to hear will feel like solving a puzzle you didn't even know you were trying to piece together. Because the truth explains why the most attractive women make the most reckless, self-sabotaging moves in dating. And it's not what you think. Beautiful women are often relationship stupid, and not because they lack intelligence. It's because nobody has ever told them the truth about anything that actually matters in love. Not once in a while, not sometimes, never. For decades, 20, 30, even 40 years, truth has been extinct in their personal worlds. The moment they became physically attractive, their access to reality got cut off. It's not an exaggeration, it's an economic shift. When a woman has something men desperately want, her looks, her attention, her body, men will say whatever increases their odds of getting it. That means truth isn't just ignored, it's actively avoided. Instead of honesty, they get strategy. Every conversation becomes a chess game where the goal is to win her over, not inform her. The extinction of truth doesn't happen by accident, it's systematic. It begins the moment she develops curves, and it never stops. From that day on, feedback is filtered, opinions are softened, and reality is dressed up as flattery. She doesn't live in the same world the rest of us do. She lives in a parallel reality where cause and effect operate under different rules. And the most dangerous part? She has no clue it's happening. She thinks the version of life she's been fed is real, when in fact it's an illusion built to keep her desirable, not informed. That's why she builds her dating strategies on sand. She develops ideas about men and relationships that are wildly disconnected from how they actually work. She doesn't even know her truth has been manufactured by the sexual and emotional agendas of others. This isn't about her being bad, it's about her being targeted. She's unknowingly playing a rigged game, and she's been conditioned to think she's winning. That conditioning makes her an expert in self-destruction. She consistently creates the opposite of what she wants because she's following a broken map. A map designed to keep her attractive, but not wise. To understand how this disaster starts, you've got to go back in time. She's 13 or 14, just another awkward kid worried about homework and whether she'll get invited to a party. Then, seemingly overnight, puberty hits like an earthquake. The attention is immediate and overwhelming. Boys notice, men notice, teachers, strangers, even her friends' fathers. Everyone's behavior shifts. She suddenly has a kind of power she doesn't understand and isn't equipped to handle. It's thrilling and terrifying at the same time. But here's the key. Emotionally, she's still a child. The problem is, now she's a child holding adult-level influence over grown men. Her age says 14, but her maturity is still developing like any other teenagers. The difference? She's now able to influence the emotions and actions of men far older and more experienced than her. That power becomes intoxicating. But from that moment forward, the truth from men dies. Every interaction becomes a negotiation where honesty loses and flattery wins. Men learn that telling her what she wants to hear gets them attention, smiles, maybe even affection. Telling her the truth gets them ignored, rejected, or cut out completely. It's not because they're villains, it's because they're playing by the rules of survival. And in her world, survival means validation. This is where the brutal math comes in. Being honest with a beautiful woman rarely leads to intimacy. Being strategic, on the other hand, often does. I call it the honesty-sex contradiction. The one thing she needs most, accurate feedback, is the thing men are least motivated to give. Imagine a classroom where the teacher asks questions but punishes every wrong answer. Over time, students stop trying to give the truth. They just give the right answer to avoid punishment. That's exactly how men adapt to beautiful women. They learn the answers that get them rewarded and they repeat them. Over time, those rewards shape the woman's entire perception of reality. She asks for feedback, but only if it matches what she already believes. She says she values authenticity, but what she rewards is validation. She says she wants the truth, but she punishes it when it's uncomfortable. The odds of an honest answer lining up with what she wants to hear are microscopic, maybe 1 in 20 on a good day. But the odds of strategic agreement working? Nearly certain. And men aren't dumb. They follow the incentives. They're not optimizing for truth. They're optimizing for results. This is why the lies never stop. The system rewards them. Now think about what that means long-term. Short-term, the lies keep her happy. Long-term, they destroy her ability to see reality. She makes bad relationship choices based on bad information. When those choices fail, she gets even more bad information to explain why. The cycle becomes airtight. The more she fails, the more she believes she's right, because everyone around her keeps feeding her the same lines. It's not just a pattern, it's an ecosystem where truth can't survive. And she's living in it 24/7 without knowing she's drowning in deception. Only a rare handful of men will ever tell her the truth consistently. First, there are the men whose integrity is unshakable, who value principles over personal gain. They'll speak the truth no matter the fallout, even if it costs them her approval. That's maybe 2% of the male population, and they often pay a high social price for it. Then there are the men on the autism spectrum who value accuracy over social comfort. They're wired to say what's true, not what's strategic. To them, lying to protect feelings doesn't make sense. It's like trying to drive a car without wheels. And finally, there are the family men, fathers, brothers, who aren't seeking her approval for sexual access. They care more about her long-term well-being than her short-term emotions. Everyone else? They have every incentive to tell her exactly what she wants to hear. This creates an information desert. Truth becomes rarer than water in a drought. She's dehydrated for reality, but she doesn't even know she's thirsty. Picture working under a boss with a fragile ego. She asks for your opinion, but you know disagreeing will get you fired. What do? You smile, you nod, you tell her she's brilliant, and you fix the damage quietly behind the scenes. That's exactly how men adapt to relationships with beautiful women. They're not trying to help her understand reality, they're just trying to keep their position secure. And here's the kicker. The pattern becomes self-reinforcing. Beautiful women start to expect agreement in every interaction. So when someone tells them the truth, it doesn't register as helpful, it registers as an attack. The punishment is swift. Emotional blow-ups, offense, cutting people off. Over time, the truth doesn't just get ignored, it gets erased from her life entirely. Every disagreement feels like a betrayal. Every challenge feels like disrespect. And so the cycle of lies not only continues, it accelerates. This is what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes truth gets punished hard. Sometimes it gets ignored. But lies almost always get rewarded. And human beings, men included, are wired to repeat whatever gets rewarded. That's why the system locks in. The male survival instinct in this dynamic isn't help her grow. It's don't get eliminated. And once that's the dominant motive, reality is gone. Years of this conditioning leave her with a model of relationships that's completely detached from reality. She believes in rules that don't exist. She expects outcomes that aren't possible. And when things don't work out, she doesn't change her approach. She doubles down because everyone around her assures her she's right. That's why the failures pile up without correction. The more she fails, the more confident she becomes in her broken strategy. It's the ultimate romantic tragedy, and she doesn't even see it happening. Women who aren't unusually beautiful experience a different reality. Men still try to impress them, sure, but they also give them more honest feedback. There's less to lose by being truthful, so truth survives more often. That means average-looking women get reality checks that beautiful women never hear. They're corrected when they're wrong. They're called out on bad behavior. They don't like it in the moment, but over time, it sharpens their understanding of men and relationships. And that feedback, even when it stings, gives them an advantage that beauty takes away. For beautiful women, the delay in consequences is deadly. They can maintain bad habits for years because men are willing to put up with them in exchange for access to beauty. Average women lose men faster when they behave badly, so they adjust quicker. Beautiful women can coast on looks long after their behavior has turned toxic. That's why so many only realize the truth when it's too late. By the time reality hits, the damage is done. The relationships are gone, and the beauty that once shielded them can't protect them anymore. The cruel irony is that all this deception creates the opposite of what she wants. She doesn't want endless short-term flings. She wants love, stability, connection. But she's been trained to use strategies that destroy those very things. She thinks she's playing the game to win, but she's been handed the wrong rulebook. The result? She turns her advantages into disadvantages. She has the tools to succeed, but uses them in ways that guarantee failure. And because no one tells her, she never gets the chance to change. Every failed relationship reinforces the false beliefs. She's told it's just bad luck, or men can't handle a strong woman, or you just haven't met the right guy yet. These comforting lies keep her locked in. Instead of changing her approach, she repeats the same patterns with different men. She blames the players, never the playbook. The failure cycle becomes a trap she can't see, and the people who could help her, those rare truth tellers, are pushed away. The only consistent truth often comes from family, fathers, brothers, uncles. They're the ones who can say, "You're wrong," and not lose their place in her life. They can handle her emotional reactions because their connection doesn't depend on sexual approval. They can enforce consequences. They can apply pressure when needed. They care about her success long term, not just keeping her happy in the moment. But even they can fail, because if she's addicted to validation, she'll reject them too. And then she cuts off her last lifeline to reality. When she rejects even loving accountability, she sinks deeper into fantasyland thinking. Her perception of relationships becomes entirely disconnected from actual cause and effect. Every year that passes without real feedback makes her worldview more fragile and unrealistic. She becomes so used to manipulation and flattery that truth feels foreign, even hostile. It's not just that she dislikes hearing it. It's that her brain has been conditioned to treat it as a threat. The rare people who could pull her out of this spiral get pushed away. Instead, she fills her circle with people who keep feeding her illusions. It's comfortable, but it's a comfort that's slowly killing her ability to have healthy relationships. The more she clings to the fantasy, the further she drifts from reality, and every failed romance reinforces her belief that she's the victim, never the architect, of her own problems. This is what I call a power-wisdom disaster. She's handed massive influence over men's emotions and behavior without earning it through experience or trial and error. Unlike leadership roles that build judgment through challenges and mistakes, her power arrives overnight. CEOs climb their way up, learning through smaller stakes before bigger ones. Political leaders rise through layers of responsibility before commanding nations. Celebrities often gain fame gradually, giving them time to adapt. But for a beautiful teenage girl, the shift is instant. One day she's invisible, the next she's in control of forces she doesn't understand. That control feels intoxicating, but without the wisdom to use it, it becomes a weapon she turns on herself. She can make men change their behavior with a glance, spark obsession with a smile, and inspire extreme loyalty. But she often doesn't know why these reactions happen or how to sustain them long term. She can pull unlimited attention but has no blueprint for turning it into stability. That gap between power and understanding grows wider every year. The wider it gets, the harder the eventual crash. Manipulation works faster than wisdom develops, so she has no incentive to slow down and learn. And that's why her dating life swings from euphoric highs to catastrophic lows. She's building a house with beautiful walls but no foundation. Sooner or later, it caves in. The environment she lives in reinforces this imbalance. When you can get what you want through beauty or charm, you bypass the lessons that come from earning it. You never have to negotiate from equality. You negotiate from leverage. That's great for short-term wins, but deadly for long-term stability. It means you never learn how to build something that lasts when your leverage fades. That's the trap she doesn't see coming. She believes the rules will always be the same, but when they change, she's left with habits that don't work and no idea what to replace them with. The conditioning system is airtight. Lies are consistently rewarded. Truth is consistently punished. The men who tell her what she wants to hear rise in importance in her life. The men who challenge her are pushed out. Over time, this creates a complete reality distortion where she genuinely believes her worldview is flawless. Every relationship confirms the same narrative. I'm right, they just couldn't handle me. The truth never stands a chance. And the more she rewards deception, the more people give it to her. It's a self-reinforcing loop with no exit unless she chooses to break it herself. Eventually, she starts living out a self-fulfilling prophecy. She expects men to say whatever will keep her happy, so she creates conditions that guarantee that's all she hears. Anyone who offers honesty is branded as toxic or unsupportive. Anyone who flatters her is praised and kept close. She slowly filters out every truth teller and surrounds herself with experts in strategic validation. Then she complains that men only tell me what I want to hear, without realizing she built that exact environment. She doesn't see that her own reactions have shaped the behavior of everyone around her, and until she does, nothing will change. For men, success with her has nothing to do with truth and everything to do with emotional management. Keep her comfortable, and you stay in the game. Challenge her beliefs, and you're out. Even good men start compromising themselves in this system. They cut their truths in half, then in quarters, until all they're serving is sugar-coated nonsense. They tell themselves it's just keeping the peace. But peace without reality is fake. It's a ceasefire before the explosion. By enabling the fantasy, they become part of the very machine that's breaking her, and they set themselves up for the same crash she's heading toward. This dynamic isn't unique to beautiful women. It happens to anyone with unearned power that no one dares challenge. It's why some heirs to companies are insufferable, why influencers implode after sudden fame, and why even successful men can become intolerable. Power without accountability breeds distortion. It's not the power itself, it's the absence of checks and balances. That's why beautiful women can thrive academically or professionally. Those worlds still give them honest feedback. It's in the personal and romantic spaces where beauty skews the feedback loop that things collapse. And when collapse comes, it's always dramatic. Men in this system aren't necessarily villains. They're products of incentives. If telling the truth gets you punished and flattery gets you rewarded, the choice is obvious. Few are willing to take a loss for the sake of principle. So the machine keeps running. Women lose reality, men lose authenticity, and relationships lose trust. Everyone sacrifices something vital, but the short-term rewards feel so good that no one notices the long-term damage until it's too late. And by then, the repair work is twice as hard. The tragedy is that beautiful women deserve sympathy more than scorn. They didn't choose to be cut off from reality. They didn't design the system, they were born into it. From the moment they became attractive, people started filtering every piece of information through a lens of desire. The men who lie to them aren't always malicious. They're adapting to survive. But survival isn't growth, and without growth, beauty becomes a gilded cage, a prison disguised as a palace. Both sides end up trapped. She can't get the truth she needs to grow, and men can't keep their integrity without losing her. Society loses the benefits of honest male-female communication. The rare men who try to break the cycle often fail because the reinforcement system is relentless. Even genuine accountability from family or close friends can be rejected when validation feels more comfortable. And so the disconnect widens year after year. This isn't just a romance problem, it's a human systems problem, a flaw in how we handle beauty and power, one that's solved only by intentionally rewriting the rules. Fixing this starts with awareness. A beautiful woman who wants to escape this trap has to actively hunt for truth, even when it hurts. She must create space for feedback that challenges her self-image instead of only seeking what confirms it. That means resisting the urge to shut down, get defensive, or cut people off when they disagree. It means learning to distinguish between criticism that's malicious and criticism that's constructive. It means rewarding honesty instead of punishing it. For men, it means valuing her long-term well-being over your short-term comfort or access. It means risking a moment of tension to protect years of potential connection. Without this, no relationship she has will ever be built on a solid foundation. And without a solid foundation, it's only a matter of time before it collapses. Society's role is to admit that beauty creates a distortion effect that can be just as damaging as it is rewarding. Pretending it's not there doesn't make it go away. It just makes it harder to fix. The answer isn't to strip beauty of its benefits, but to give it counterweights. We need to teach that appearance opens doors, but character keeps them open. That beauty plus wisdom is unstoppable, but beauty without wisdom is dangerous. That charm can create opportunities, but truth builds lasting success. Developing emotional intelligence, humility, and resilience is just as important as maintaining physical appeal. Without those qualities, beauty becomes fragile, and when something is fragile, it eventually breaks. Beauty should enhance connection, not replace the skills that sustain it. In the right hands, it can be a multiplier, making good relationships even better. But in the wrong hands, or in an environment where truth is absent, it becomes a time bomb. Many women learn this too late, after years of repeating patterns that never work. The women who learn it early keep both their beauty and their happiness. They avoid the crash entirely. They attract men who value their mind and character as much as their looks, and they have the rare ability to inspire loyalty that lasts far beyond physical attraction. Men have just as much responsibility in changing this dynamic. If you care about a woman, you need to lead with truth, even if it's uncomfortable. That doesn't mean being cold or cruel. It means being real. It means telling her when she's wrong and standing your ground when she tests you. It means refusing to enable dysfunction just because it's easier in the moment. This takes strength, self-respect, and the ability to handle her reactions without backing down. The reward is a relationship built on reality instead of performance. And performance might win applause, but reality is what survives life's storms. The women who embrace this truth early age with grace, not just in looks, but in energy, character, and depth. They become more magnetic over time because they pair beauty with substance. They keep men engaged for the right reasons, not just the easy ones. They're capable of having tough conversations without damaging the relationship. They build mutual respect, and in turn, they receive loyalty. They remain grounded because they've never lost touch with reality, and that grounding makes them immune to the crashes that take others out. They know the truth is not the enemy, it's the ally that keeps everything they care about intact. For those who don't embrace it, the crash is inevitable. Physical beauty will carry you far, but not forever. Behavior will eventually outweigh appearance. Dysfunction will outweigh attraction. And the men who once tolerated chaos for the sake of looks will leave. That's when panic sets in. That's when the realization hits that the game was played with a broken rulebook. But by then, the rewiring process is much harder and often much more painful. Truth might sting in the short term, but lies will destroy you in the long term. That's why the women who survive and thrive are the ones who seek out truth early. They welcome it, they nurture it, they build their relationships around it like a foundation of stone. And because of that, they don't just keep love, they keep themselves. They never lose their center, they never let validation replace reality, and they never fall victim to the illusion that beauty alone is enough. If you're a beautiful woman hearing this, understand. It's not an attack. It's a warning and an opportunity. A warning that the system around you is built to keep you blind, and an opportunity to step outside of it, to create a circle that values honesty over flattery, to test your relationships and see who sticks around when you stop rewarding the easy answers, to find out who's there because they care, not just because you're comfortable to be around. Those people are rare, and they're worth holding on to. If you're a man, understand your role. Every time you bite your tongue instead of speaking the truth, you strengthen the very system that's hurting her. Every time you flatter instead of being honest, you trade your integrity for short-term access. That doesn't mean you should be ruthless, but it does mean you should be brave. Lead with reality. Protect your self-respect. Build relationships where both people can speak freely without fear, because that's the only way to build something that lasts. Some will hear this and reject it outright. They'll call it bitter, harsh, or negative. But truth doesn't care about labels. It remains the truth whether you like it or not. Avoiding it might feel better now, but it will cost you more later. Facing it might be uncomfortable now, but it will save you in the long run. That's the choice in front of everyone caught in this system. Protect the fantasy or build in reality. The fantasy is easier, but reality is stronger, and strength is what lasts. This isn't really about beauty, it's about human nature. Any kind of leverage will change how people treat you. If it's money, they'll play to your ego. If it's status, they'll play to your pride. If it's beauty, they'll play to your desire for affirmation. The only defense is self-awareness. The only safeguard is surrounding yourself with people who hold you accountable. Without that, no one escapes the trap. The best relationships are built on truth, not brutal honesty for its own sake, but a commitment to reality even when it's uncomfortable. It's the ability to disagree without destroying connection. It's the strength to correct without condemning. And it's the humility to accept correction without feeling attacked. Beautiful women rarely get this by default. They have to demand it. They have to show they can handle it. And when they do, they become unstoppable. Those who don't will keep repeating the same mistakes. They'll keep wondering why men won't commit, why relationships keep failing, why love always slips away. They'll blame the people they date without examining the part they play. They'll push away anyone who tries to show them the truth, and they'll protect the illusion at all costs. But the illusion always collapses, and when it does, it leaves nothing to stand on. Real love can't exist without reality. Without truth, it's just an act. And no one can keep acting forever. Eventually, the performance ends, the curtain drops, and what's left is silence and resentment. Without truth, every new relationship is just a repeat of the last, and with each repeat, it becomes harder to believe anything will change. That's why the smartest thing a beautiful woman can do is make truth her priority. Reward it, protect it, demand it from everyone in her life. For men, the smartest move is the same. Lead with reality and let the chips fall where they may. If she can handle it, she's worth investing in. If she can't, she's not your person. Because a woman who values truth will never make you guess where you stand. You won't have to perform just to keep her happy, and you'll never have to wonder if she's living in the same reality as you. The women who understand this early live differently. They build partnerships that last. They attract loyalty, not just attention. They avoid the crash that comes when looks fade but dysfunction remains. They combine confidence with humility. And they inspire the kind of devotion that doesn't fade with time, because they've mastered the balance of beauty and truth. The ones who don't keep paying the price. They keep blaming others. They keep expecting different results from the same failed strategies. And one day they find themselves without the beauty that once bought them time, and without the truth that could have saved them. Truth is the one thing that outlasts beauty. It's the foundation everything else rests on. Without it, you have nothing. So if you want love that lasts, start there. Make honesty the standard. Stop punishing it, start rewarding it. Keep the people who give it. Remove the ones who can't. And never forget, beauty can open the door, but only truth can keep it open. Because beauty plus lies equals disaster. Beauty plus truth equals power. One fades, the other lasts. And only you decide which one you'll build your life on.